Welcome to the week two recap, fam. Good to be with you and good to have a brand new guest on our show. Rookie here. But why don't you introduce yourself, sir?
My name's EJ Hamilton. I'm marrying into the family. I'm
Okay.
marrying Amber's stepdaughter, Amber. So, yep. So,
Okay.
I know a lot of people. I met a lot of you guys though when you guys were in town. So I know most of the people, but there's a few that I haven't met. But
Yeah, and you've been to our house here as well, here
yep,
in Chicagoland. I remember watching a fight. I think it was Crawford was the guy's
Rob,
last name.
yep.
Yeah, he was a
He's from Omaha, and he's still tearing up. He just beat Earl Spence.
okay.
His last fight. That was probably his biggest fight so far. But
Yeah, he was a good fighter. That was enjoyable to watch. I don't watch much boxing. I never really like think to even watch it, but it was actually pretty cool.
we
So
need to
you,
make another Northwestern trip out there
yeah, I mean
to
Nebraska
watch.
will play. Yeah, the Cornhuskers will be here at some point. I don't know when. Is that this year? I don't know, but I know Andy's done it. That you all did it the what 2, 3 years ago now.
It might have been like 4 or 5 at this point, but yeah,
Man,
yeah, because
man,
that was before COVID, I think. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you
but
said you're marrying like into the family, kind of.
yeah,
And I know that whenever you marry, oh, here's my dogs. Hi, dogs. All right, you can go up. Oh, okay, sorry. But when you marry into the family, there's always you absorb a new family. Like you get a new family.
exactly.
Um, is there anybody like in the family that you just don't get along with? Because I know like my brother-in-law is such him and he's such a braggadocious person.
Yeah.
He's got a PhD, so he just rubs it in everybody's face about how much of an expert he is, and it's brutal. So, do you have anybody like that in your family?
Well, he'll be my brother-in-law, probably Joey, her brother. She's only got one brother. He could
Oh,
be sort of
Joey.
yeah, he can be sort of a little smart ass sometimes, but I think I've kind of broke through that barrier where now we get along pretty well. So, but
All right, that's cool then.
I would say Andy, but he'll hear this. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I can feel it on Andy's side as well. If you feel like it was Andy, because he could be a pain in the ass as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Kyle's kind of a dick too.
I don't know Kyle that much. He hasn't gone. You've come on the podcast earlier than he has. He's never been on it. So
Wow, come on, Kyle, you can do it.
step it up. I
Yeah,
know. How long have you played fantasy football?
I've been doing it for probably since college. I've probably 10 years, I'd say, but not nothing ever like serious, like super serious. Just friends or family. So right now I'm in another family um, uh, fantasy that's worth money. So right now I'm in two that are worth money, this one and that one. But you guys take
Okay.
it a little bit more serious with the podcast and the group chat stuff like that. So, but I enjoy it because obviously I'm a NFL Packers fan. So yeah, it's kind of changed my outlook though on watching NFL or watching like Packers games. I'm rooting against myself half the time,
Oh
but
yeah, that's true. That's true. It can take some
that's the
fun
only
out of it.
downfall I see with fantasy. But it's fun. But
But you can also still like lean when you're making a decision between a couple of players, leaning more towards, oh, they play for my team. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
going towards that one just because it's a little more fun at that
well,
point. And that's why we do this as well.
yeah. Well, the bad thing, I almost ended up with three Vikings players this year, and it would have been really bad
That's
because
true. Another
Kirk Cousins was on the board, and I was going to take him, but I can't. I already had Jefferson and Hawkins. I'm like, there's no way.
ah, but you could have
Yeah,
had the stack, man. You could have been running
I couldn't do it.
uh
Couldn't do it.
I'm trying to think of what the trio's name. I'll get a good trio name for them. Um
Yeah.
But speaking of good performances this week, EJ, we start these matchups off with the ass whooping of the week, and I would love to proclaim that I had the ass whooping of the week over Glenn, who bet me $5. He's a man of his word. I appreciate you, sir.
That was quick.
Uh, but yeah, my team won by 46 and a half points, basically. And I think that unfortunately we're Colts fans, so Anthony Richardson going down. I mean, he was having a great game. I mean, he went down
Yeah.
early. And even at that point, he already had 2 rushing touchdowns, was looking great. And as a Colts fan, he's looked good. He's looked better than I thought he would in his first 2 games as a professional. And so it's really tough to see him go down that game. I think that kind of well, Gunn didn't have great performances from other players, and that's what puts it, such a deficit. Anthony Richardson going down, I think, is a tough one. Anything that you
Yeah.
note in that game?
Well, Richardson's. I was going to point. Yeah, Richardson's looked pretty good. A lot better than I thought he'd look. Obviously, running the ball really helps out in fantasy too with those rushing touchdowns.
Good
Like
point. Good
Jalen
point.
Hurts, same thing. The other thing I had written down was Austin Eckler with him being out was tough for Glenn to probably overcome. So
Huge.
I have him in my other league, my other money league. So, and I lost that week too. And if I would have had him, it could have changed. But yeah, him going down didn't really help Glenn too much. So
No, that was, I mean, I think he was slated or projected for like 24 points.
oh yeah,
You can't just replace that. There's very few players that can do that. And lucky for me, CMC, Keenan Allen, they're a big part of it. Even Hunter Henry did well.
yep,
He's been a good tight end so far in the beginning of the year. But yeah, so that was the ass whooping of the week. Next up, we have the nail biter of the week, and we actually had a couple, even though they may not have ended that way. First one that actually did end as a really close matchup was Green Bastard. So Kyle took Mahomes slice, which is Zach, by about 8 points, and ultimately Zach had Nick Chubb in
yep.
this matchup, and that he went down with a season-ending and potential career-threatening injury. And it's unfortunate too because I think he had at that point, it was early second quarter, he had like 10 carries for 65 yards, something like that. I mean, he was destroying it too, and he's been great. So it's tough to see a great talent go down, but that would be one of the main reasons I think it went down. Anything else that you may have seen in that matchup as to why it was so close or how Kyle may have edged him out?
I think Chubb going down really cost Zach probably the game. He only lost by what 8 points,
8 points,
and
yeah.
so he definitely probably would have had that without um, Chubb going down. And I didn't really want to see that injury. Thanks for whoever sent that in the group chat. I didn't really care to watch the video.
I have not seen it. I won't. I hear people say that it is one of the more devastating injuries that you could ever witness, and I don't want to see that.
So they played it in the stadium, and you could while you're watching.
Ugh,
Didn't show the
yeah,
replay. They didn't show the replay on ESPN, but in the stadium they showed it, and you just hear the whole crowd just gasp, and you could
yeah,
tell that it was bad, really
yeah.
bad. And
Oh,
watching it, it was it was bad.
do you ever remember this? Like they used to have these videos and that just had wild, crazy stuff in sports, and one of them was a kickboxer that kicked a guy and broke his like leg in the
Yeah,
process. Like that's what it reminds
sideways.
me of, and it's like no, I can't handle it, can't do it.
But
Um,
what I had for like Kyle though, like Josh Allen obviously had a great bounce back game after week one.
yeah, yeah.
I think he had 10 points the first week. He had looks like 30 this game. And then I really like his running back combo, Pollard and Rashad White. I think Rashad White's going to be pretty good. I
He
think he's
had
a
a
pretty
bounce
good
back
running.
week too,
Yeah. And
compared to week one.
he looked good. But I guess that we're playing the Bears, so I guess anybody can look good
I
against the
know
Bears.
that's a tough part. Is the Bear like if you have a Kansas City player, you may want to play him this week because yeah, they're gonna destroy the Bears. Another one that was to me a nail biter, but didn't end up that way. Maybe also unfortunately, but was Tyler versus Casey. So the FFL Redeem team versus the Indianapolis Cases Aces. And Cases Aces ended up winning by almost 30 points. Like it was almost, but going into Monday, I think it was less than 10 points on Casey's side. And Tyler had Miles Sanders, Jamal Williams, Carolina's defense. He had multiple players going, whereas Casey only had Watson and then Pittsburgh defense. But Pittsburgh defense went off for like 23 points
Yeah.
in that matchup. Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I unfortunately had to play them in another league too, so it was the Steelers defense, and I lost by like 6 points because of it. But yeah, the thing I took away from it was Tyler's team, huge day, but was Saquon going down
Yep.
really hurt him, and for future, obviously, and also Jamal Williams for him going down.
Yeah,
But they both scored good. But they're both. I don't know what Jamal Williams' is status is, but maybe
yeah.
Dr. Sam for that.
I'm gonna let Dr. Sam speak to it. I just so everybody knows, I have not listened to it, so I don't know what he has said. But we'll bring it up either way for that one. But yeah, that's a devastating injury to have happen to your team as well, and have both like running backs going down. It just feels like there's landmines everywhere for these guys, and they're just like lined up for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, Casey's team with Zach Moss, with your guys' Colts, he looked pretty good,
yeah,
and
he's
so
gonna get to work. I
yeah,
think he
so
got like almost all of the touches for running backs. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's going to be a good going forward. But he also's got Brees Hall, which I think wants out of the Jets. I don't know. He wasn't happy with his carries. I don't know if you've seen his tweet.
They talked about it, and I think it's tough against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I scrapped that game for the running backs. Not so much Dalvin Cook because Dalvin didn't really look great the first game either, whereas Brees did. So it seems to me like Brees will get more and more run, and Dalvin even less. And Dalvin scored like half a point, I think,
Yeah.
this week.
Well, yeah, Brees Hall I think had 4 carries, and he sent out a tweet with just 4 football emojis, and then just put dot dot dot. So basically referring to his carries
Yeah,
that I think wasn't happy. So
yeah,
so
I can feel him, especially after what he did week one. And then to
exactly.
keep that as what they're going to do, they got to adapt. Especially with Zach Wilson being there at the helm.
I also noticed that Russell Wilson went off for 34 points. Just like
Yeah,
I didn't watch the game, but I was like, holy cow! When I was looking at the matchup,
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and normally, like if you didn't have to, you wouldn't play him, but yet when you have to and he goes off, it's really nice.
yeah,
Um, But yeah, we have a couple of matchups remaining. We have Allison with field goal and a big loss to Louis. So Licho, he beat it by almost 30 as well. Uh, it was really close on Sunday until Sunday night when Mostert went off for almost 30 points.
yeah,
And to me, that's pretty much the deficit right there is Mostert just going bananas. Anything else
yeah.
that you saw there?
I think Allison. Well, she'll probably find out now. She's got to put Puka in the lineup right now because that guy he's on a tear. The guy.
People don't listen. People don't listen.
I mean, he's. I got another stat. He's number 2 in receivings right now.
Yeah,
Receiving yards and most
yeah,
receptions.
yeah,
That's. I mean, who would have thought it? But I mean, that's just. And the whole offense with the Rams is just pass heavy, and I guess we'll talk about mine. I got their running back now, but yeah, they've looked impressive. I think they lost though. I think this week, but I mean, at least fantasy wise,
yeah,
they're putting up numbers this
yeah,
week.
yeah. I have Kyron Williams in another league. I picked him up early, a week early. Like I saw what happened
Yep,
week one, I picked him up, and
yep,
I'm thankful I did because now I mean, he's huge because I that was one where my best running back was Miles Sanders, and my next best was like AJ Dillon, Tyler Algier. Like it's not good. So to get some of that happening, it's helpful for me. But
yeah,
yeah, it was, and the D won it as well. I think the two defenses going against each other was interesting, and I think it was like a 17 or 18 point difference between
yeah.
those positions as well.
Especially with AJ Brown only getting 4 points and Pittman Jr. getting 7, that doesn't
Yeah,
help. So
yeah, AJ's not looking good so far this year.
and
Uh,
Pittman Jr. is always hit or miss. Or I mean, the guy should be, but it's all quarterback play too. So who knows?
well, Minshew can get him the ball, so I'm not really too worried about him
Yeah.
in fantasy, at least
Mm,
for volume. But in our league, I think touchdowns are so important.
yeah.
And that's where you want to see that uptick. And with Minshew, you're not quite sure if you have as much of that upside that you're going to be down on that end of the field. That it doesn't always have to be a big play that's broken to get a touchdown.
Gotcha.
So that's also the tough side. But I want to get to the final matchup because you got the high score of the week, sir. Another rookie. So congratulations. I'll give you a half-hearted applause
Wait, there's one more.
for
We missed Bob and did we talk about Bob and Suckett Ditka?
Oh shit. I did not. I have only the five. My bad. My bad. I did skip out. It's funny, I have it actually like randomly crossed out here, like as if I had done it. My bad.
That's
Yeah, that was also another interesting one because Sukaditka has now won. He's 2-0, but this week he scored more than last week, and he has yet to reach the 100 mark. But yet he's 2-0, so
yeah,
he has dragged on, and that's who you're playing this week, and we'll talk about that at the end, near the end here with the week two
yeah.
matchups.
I,
But
I got
yeah,
some
he
more
was
about
able to
that
pull
one
it
too.
out again. Yeah, so it's almost
Yeah, I
like
got
the
some
other
more.
team's ineptitude.
But Bob had Brian Robinson on the bench with 30 or what he 31 points for Brian Robinson Jr.,
Yeah,
which would have swayed right there.
yeah, it's always those decisions that make us like rethink
Yeah,
ourselves the next week as well. That's where it comes into play. It's always like the next week. I also am
but
concerned with like what I'm putting out there.
yeah,
Sorry, man.
I have Brian. Oh,
No, my bad.
I'll take a beer break.
Yeah, take a beer break. This is how professional podcasting goes when
That's right.
when
But
your computer battery goes low and you now have to plug your charger in. It was not
Bob,
ready.
both these guys, I think, have pretty good teams. Sam's
Yep.
team got a little bit. Uh,
Justin.
Acres probably done, but Bob's got a pretty good bench that he can kind of be flexible with, where he can plug and
Yep.
play, or he can look at trades. He's got two on the bench, but
Yeah.
Javante Williams,
Well,
Robinson,
and if you're Sam, you drafted Justin Fields to be a top five quarterback, and he's not being that right now, especially in our league where you get more, you get 0.2 points per carry. So these
yep,
rushing quarterbacks have an even higher floor than in, other leagues because of that. And you're
yeah,
not even getting good runs from him either. Like it's like nothing has gone well for
yeah.
Fields so far. So yeah, I think that's been his main downfall 2 weeks in a row. Just give him another 10 points, he's over the century mark in both games, and it's not terrible. Doesn't feel as
And
bad, but he's 2-0, so it's got to feel good anyways.
I was gonna say Jamar Chase hasn't done anything either, and he's still winning. So,
Yeah, yeah, very true.
mm,
All right. Well, now let's after my fumble, let's go into the last game, which is the high score of the week, which is you. Congratulations again, half-heartedly. You got just shy of a buck 40 with 139 and a half. And then Andy got 104. I mean, you almost had the ass whip of the week at like 35-ish points over the competition. But why don't you talk about that one since you were the one going through it and how you felt? Felt like it was done early.
well, I just want to say sorry to Andy because he'll be listening. But I'll take
Yeah.
a drink to that. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Also had back-to-back high scorers on your podcast, so you might need to tell more people to get on the podcast before because
Hey,
Glenn
Kyle, you want to get on the podcast? You want to go on the podcast now? I like that.
was high last week. Now you got me this week, so
And
yeah,
both have been the rookies of the league. Like, I know you're not rookies to fantasy football, but you've both been rookies of the league.
yeah.
So,
And Glenn did take a little shot at my cheesehead champions in the last podcast when he was saying, "How do you not start Jordan Love?" And I said, "I wanted my response to be, I don't think anyone expected Jordan Love to be as good as he's been so far." So, like
true.
you were
That's
saying,
true. He just wanted to test your loyalty and see how loyal are you.
and I wasn't. I definitely wasn't. But hey, he might be available because I do have three quarterbacks. I got Goff, Prescott, and Love, and I'm kind of picking matchups right now. I started
Yeah.
Goff this week,
Yeah.
which had a good game, which I think they're going to be scoring at will for the most part. They like to get in some shootouts.
Yeah.
And then we were talking earlier about Kyron Williams is one of my big. I had to hit the waiver wire pretty good because of J.K. Dobbins going down,
True.
and
True.
so I picked up Kyron Williams and Gus Edwards, who I
Very,
started.
very smart.
And I think Gus Edwards is going to get got a lot of running with the Ravens with Dobbins going down. As they also have Travis
Yep.
Justice, but I think he's going to get a lot more of the early downs, which hopefully racks up some yards. And he got a touchdown this week, so
Yeah, I don't
We'll
think
see.
Melvin Gordon will play any part in that unless somebody goes down. So it's a
Yeah,
two-person backfield. It feels like there, and it's a higher pace offense that should run the ball. And yeah, I think Gus is good play, especially if he scores a touchdown. He's done real well for you in
yeah,
that week, especially when you got a lot of running backs going down.
yeah. I was really looking forward towards the future of my team with Dobbins, ETN, Kamara, Jefferson,
Yeah,
Cooper Cup, Cooper Cup, and Watson, Christian Watson. They're all healthy. That's a nice little core of that.
yeah,
They're going to get healthy or not. So we'll see. But
and you're still doing pretty well, man. So nice job. Keep it up.
yeah, with Andy's team, I think he's still got a pretty that Bijan Robinson's going to be a beast all year. Um,
Uh, they were talking about him being. I mean, he's CMC. It's like those two are
yeah,
are on par with each other, whereas
yeah,
others just seem to fall into a different tier. Whereas Bijan seems to already be in that tier, and yeah, he was great. I
yeah,
mean, 2 weeks in a row. I think he was even better this week, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. He's second in rushing behind Christian McCaffrey. So yeah,
yeah,
he'll be there all year as long as he doesn't get injured, which has been the theme this year. So
yeah.
we'll see.
And I know Kirk Cousins went off in the early game, but I think you got to play Lawrence over Cousins if you
Yeah,
got him. And I don't even know. I felt bad for that it went that way because you assume it would be the opposite almost, but yeah, you got it done.
I did see Andy on Friday night. So that game was Thursday. He talked about that he almost handcuffed Jefferson and Hawks Cousins, but then he
Yeah,
pulled back. I don't think it would have made a difference because I think I still would have won because I mean Lawrence. I guess Lawrence only had 8 points, so it would have been a little bit closer. But I don't know if it would have swayed or not. Maybe it would have. I don't know. 20
yeah,
and a half.
man. No, like if you just switch the quarterbacks, I did the math. I was like, it doesn't. He's still shy by like 5 points in the matchup. But it means something in regards to some of that. But yeah, he still would have lost in the matchup. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think it brings up a good concept as to do you play if you have Jefferson and Hawkinson, do I play the quarterback of them?
Mm.
Because I would argue that I think the 37 points or 38 points for your quarterback was more valuable than two guys at the 22. However, having a tight end that scores in the 20s is amazing.
Yeah.
Most tight ends are getting what, 6 points? You're hoping
Yep.
for 6 or 7 from a tight
Mm.
end. If they get 20, that's over triple what you would like. Whereas I can see that too, but
Yeah.
it's a good
You talked
conversation.
you talked about it last week on the podcast with Purdy handcuffing Ayuk, I think, with Glenn. Um, I've never even thought about that, like handcuffing other teams. I've never even like crossed my mind because I'm always just trying to play the best guys I got.
Yeah.
So, but
And
I think you got to go Lawrence over Cousins. But
yeah,
uh,
I say the same. Hold
yeah,
on one moment. I think somebody wants to make an appearance. You want to come
oh,
in? Hey, beautiful.
I made a donut.
hi,
Yeah. You say hi to EJ?
Hi. I made
hi.
a donut at preschool.
You made a
What?
donut? Can I have one?
I don't have a real one.
Oh,
The
okay.
pretend one.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you.
All right.
It's in my backpack.
Okay.
Drink.
You come right back.
If you
Okay.
want to ship some donuts to Omaha too, we'll take them.
Yeah, we can do that. Tage, how about we show them at the end? Can I come get you and get the donut from you then?
Well, I'll get it right now.
Well, we got okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, she's just got back from preschool. We're doing this a little bit early, so there's been a lot of hiccups so far in our recording
No,
of
we're good.
this. So I apologize for that. Um, but yeah, I mean, for Andy's team, I know like even for yours, you had ETN, like your all of your players went for double digits except for ETN, and ETN got
Yeah.
hurt. And
Yeah.
so, it was like your team was just rolling. And on the defensive side, I think you still got at least an average or a good score that you'll take for a defense. A
0.
zero? Shit.
Packers.
Oh fuck, man, I'm misremembering it. That's my bad.
Yeah, no,
Um,
but I didn't think Christian Kirk was going to have the game yet.
With sprinkles on it.
Oh, D for donut. Got it.
Donut.
I gotta
Wow,
hold it up.
that's pretty. Good job.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. My beautiful. Hey,
See how I made it?
I do. I love it.
It's chocolate with strawberry.
Oh, that's a
Oh.
good combination. I like
Don't try to eat
Yeah,
Yeah, don't exactly. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
try
put
to
it up on your board.
yeah. I have to put it on my board.
Here, take it. Take it with you. Take it with you. All right. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. I like your dress. It looks nice.
special
Some
guest.
sprinkles are going up.
I'll take them. All right, Tage. I will see you. Bye, young lady.
Hey, Jordan.
Thank you.
It's not on the ground.
Okay, sorry about that.
Special guest.
Yeah. But moving on from the matchups that we had, Dr. Sam is making another appearance on our podcast to talk about some unfortunate injuries that happened in a lot of these games, and we talked about some of those and some of their impacts on it. So now we're gonna head over to Dr. Sam. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here with everybody. Mhm. I think I am. There we go. All right, Dr. Sam.
Welcome to your week 2 injury report with Dr. Sam here. We have a lot to cover this week, so we'll jump right in, starting with the running back for the Detroit Lions, David Montgomery, left the game with is being called a thigh bruise or a contusion. They may end up sitting him week 3, but he should be good week 4 with no statistical hit to his performance, so potentially look for the backup to start in Detroit next week. Next up is Saquon Barkley, running back for the New York Giants. Video indicated that it was more like a high ankle sprain, potentially with a fracture, as he could not walk off the field. However, MRI results showed just a normal ankle sprain, so typically going to be a 3-week process for him, with about a 20% reduction in his production at the 4-week return mark, depending on how serious it is. Next up, we have quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson, who sustained a concussion. They may look to sit him for week 3, with a start again week 4, but again, that's day to day based on the testing and his kind of dual threat prowess as a quarterback. If he does start, there really should be no statistical hit to his performance unless they try to keep him in the pocket more. However, that's not really his playing style. Then we have Avonte Maddox, who's a cornerback for the Eagles. He had a pec injury. Surgery will be required for that. So the Eagles secondary may be a little bit banged up. So you may target some more wide receivers going against that Eagles secondary moving forward. Unfortunately, Nick Chubb suffered a multi-ligament damage to his knee on Monday night. That is going to be about a 15-month process. Hopefully he's able to come back, but with something like that where it's a lot of damage and he's already had damage to that knee before, he may be done for good potentially, but hopefully he will recover from that. Next up is Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the 49ers, suffered an AC sprain in the game on Sunday. They lean towards him playing week 3. We'll kind of have about a 55% production hit. If he does play, he should be full strength by week 4 to 5 if he does end up sitting. Next up is OBJ, wide receiver for the Ravens. Not a whole lot of information on him. They said it's just an ankle injury. They said it's not very serious, but he has had nagging ankle injuries in the past. So he may be out for week 3. A little bit of a drop in his performance if he does play. Should be back to full strength hopefully by week 4 or 5. Next up, we have Chase Edmonds, running back for the Bucks. He sustained an MCL sprain, will be going on the IR for 4 to 6 weeks. Expect a little bit of a drop in performance when he does come back, probably 1 or 2 weeks as he's getting used to that knee, making sure it's stable, but should be good after that. Next up, we have Jamal Williams, running back for the Saints. He suffered a hamstring sprain in the game Monday night. expect him to miss some time is the only quote. So we'll kind of see what happens with him as Alvin Kamara only has one more week left on his suspension. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Bears. Reports basically just say he was a knee bruise, kind of similar to Kelsey. He said it was kind of felt like a knot on the top of his knee. He couldn't really bend or move. So they seem to say that he should be back by week 3, ready to go for the game against the Chiefs. DK Metcalf has a rib injury. He left the game but was able to come back in because I believe there was no fracture. 70% chance of him probably playing week 3 with a 10 to 15% drop in performance for that week. Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, is dealing with a calf strain that he was dealing with all preseason. There's about a 20% chance of a re-injury if he does play week 3. That drops to about a 10% risk during week 4 if he does play. So we'll see kind of what reports go throughout the week if he does end up suiting up or not. Good news for Garrett Wilson owners. Looks like he just got the wind knocked out of him, but the team was getting the wind knocked out of them, so they looked like they just kept him out for the rest of the game. Both Devontae Adams and Jalen Waddle, who are wide receivers for the Raiders and the Dolphins, sustained concussions. There's about a 40% chance that they do end up playing week 3, but kind of testing will kind of have to see what's going on throughout the week to see if they do end up suiting up. Other news of anything else that I found, Christian Watson, wide receiver for the Packers, looks like he's got about a 60% chance of playing week 3. However, there is a 15% injury rate. So tough week to be a fantasy running back owner, but best of luck this week, everyone.
Nice job, Dr. Sam. We appreciate you, sir. And he is correct. It is tough to own a running back in fantasy football right now. We had lots go down. We had Saquon, we have Chubb, we saw the Eckler injury that's looming. We have, Jamal Williams, you have David Montgomery, you have Chase Edmonds, which I actually do think factors in more because he got a lot of run this week if you actually watch the game. You had Aaron Jones, you had J.K. Dobbins going down, a while back. I mean, you've got so much going on. It just feels like you can't win.
Yeah, I feel like week 2 was D-Day for injuries. There was everywhere you looked, there was injuries somewhere. That was crazy.
Yeah. And like I said, and looming injuries that were going, kind of further in.
Yeah.
More concussions. I mean, shoot, how many times have you seen now a concussion that's been diagnosed a lot more?
Yeah. And now they used to be, they'll probably be back next week, but now it seems like it's a week or two weeks until they can get back with a little bit more of the protocol. So we'll see.
I'm sorry, Andy, but I hope they hold Anthony Richardson out. I mean, why would you put him out there? You might as well like let it be. Let us let Gardner Minshew is fine quarterback to back up somebody. So no need.
You don't want to get in a Tua situation where you're worried that it might end his career or life. I mean, it's not funny, but it's just the way football is these days. But yeah, I mean, they should keep him out a little bit longer. I didn't know there was so many concussions until he just said that one. I knew about Waddle. I didn't know about
Devontae Adams.
Devontae, yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one either.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you have, like I said, then you have the Anthony Richardson one as well, which
Yeah.
was a fluky play too in that sense because he wasn't running himself into somebody. It was like a leap that he got hit on and he like landed and like rocked his head back when he landed. So it was an interesting way to get a concussion where it's not like he's just going head first into somebody.
Yeah. The key ones I had written down was Saquon Barkley, obviously out 3 weeks. I mean, that's what I seen. At least 3 weeks. That was a big one, and then the Joe Burrow one because that has a lot of effect on Chase, Higgins, all the other guys on that offense. Probably mix in because now they're just going to play for the run. I don't even know who their backup is.
Yeah,
at the Bengals.
Oh, I don't know either.
And I think that's been lingering on because he didn't look like himself the week 1, which was a little bit rainy, but yeah, week 2 he didn't look very good either. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with some of these injuries, we have to think about what do we do to replace them. Do you trade with somebody like me who can offer
Yeah.
good things and is a fair trader? Do you want to
Is
go with
that what they
someone like?
say?
I think everyone agrees.
No one knows.
Or
Well, they'll find out.
yeah, or do you want to, be that person that just farms them out of free agency?
Yep.
So let's start maybe with the quarterback. If you're somebody that had Joe Burrow but lost him and don't like your other option, anybody on the waiver wire in our league that you might go after?
There's two that I looked at. Mac Jones, who's sixth highest in quarterback in points, which I don't know if they're going to be a high volume pass, but he's been throwing the ball a lot. And then the other
Yeah,
one is CJ Stroud.
yeah,
He's not scoring as much, but he's got 44 and 47 pass attempts in the first 2 weeks. I mean, that's just high volume. I mean, he's going to score points if they keep throwing the ball that much. So
I like it, man. I honestly, I have Stroud down as one of mine as well. I think Stafford the same for the same reasons,
yep,
man.
yep,
Like a lot of pass attempts. While it's not volume scoring that you'd like to see, but I mean it's not. So I think Stafford's another good choice
yep,
there as well.
yep.
What about for running back? So that's one that we got hit on heavily and might still need to rely on.
There wasn't much out there that I wrote down. The only one obvious was the Matt Breda with the Giants.
Yeah,
That was the only one I wrote down. There is a Lions guy. I don't even know what his name was, but he was projected to get high.
Craig
Uh,
Reynolds.
Reynolds, yep, yep,
Yeah,
because of the Montgomery injury. But I still think Gibbs is going to be the guy if
yeah.
Montgomery's not playing. So
I don't see how I don't see how Craig gets more than 8 points.
yeah,
I'm just saying I would bet the under on 10.2 or something, whatever he was slated to get. Because I mean, and actually, I've liked him when I've seen him run, but I just don't see them giving it to him. They have Gibbs now. I think they're going to give him some more carries. But yeah, Matt Breida. I put Pierre Strong as well because Jerome Ford is not out there in our league. Zach actually handcuffed his
yeah,
own back, so that helped him, uh, kind of saves him from it. But Pierre
yeah,
Strong is still someone who could get some run because Drum Ford isn't Nick Chubb. Otherwise, he would be playing over Nick Chubb.
yeah,
So there's some downgrade there to where I think they will use more of a committee style than they were with Nick Chubb. But I have him. And then Ty Chandler, I think, because Alexander Madison has not looked good. And
mhm,
so if you're just taking a dart throw of a running back that might have an opportunity somewhere that nobody has, Ty Chandler could be a good one for that as well. He's a running back for Minnesota Vikings.
yep, yep. I saw a lot of Kareem Hunt out there with them, maybe picking up by the Browns, but
Yeah.
know if that's going to come to. They think that they're going to be looking, but it sounds like Jerome Ford's going to be the guy moving forward. But it doesn't sound like there's much behind him. But Zach did kind of luck out with having him on the bench, which I think is going to be helpful for him.
Yeah. What about wide receivers? Any wide receivers that you noted?
I have two. I have Tank Dell for the Texans, kind of what we talked about with
Yep.
Shroud. He had, I think, 10 targets this week. Looks to be like the clear two behind
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. Yeah, so he got a lot of play, and then Josh Reynolds for the Lions. He's
Yeah.
had two solid weeks. So with
You are on
The
top
Lions,
of it.
yeah, the Lions I think are going to throw the ball a lot, and they're going to score a lot of points. I think this year. So
I like the Josh Reynolds. Look, he's the first guy I had down. The only other, and I actually had Tank Dell, so I had him and Tank Dell, and then one other person.
there you
And
go.
part of this is me being a homer, but I think another part is how Minshew is going to use it. But Josh Downs for the Indianapolis Colts. Hey, young man. Uh-uh. Um, but yeah, Josh Downs, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, sits in the slot more. I mean, he got like 10 targets or something or 12 targets, something like that in this past game. Like he got a lot of targets. And so I like that I think he could be a sneaky play for somebody if they're looking for a wide receiver. Tight
I
end
tend to
is
look. Oh, I
oh,
was
go ahead.
just one more
Yeah.
point on the Raiders. I tend to look not so much as the receptions early on is just the targets because
Yeah.
that means the quarterback's comfortable in throwing to them. Eventually, they're going to get the reception. So looking at those targets is pretty key for receivers. So
Yeah, volume is really critical, and volume and how they're used. Like if they're used more in the red zone, that's more valuable, but at the same time you want volume. But yeah, lastly we have tight ends. I have a few notated, but it's pick your poison position,
yeah,
I feel.
yeah. I didn't have any. I'm looking at them now. Maybe Ertz or Kincaid, but I don't think he had a very good game last game again. But there was a lot of hype.
No.
Knox, I think, had a touchdown. But I didn't write anything down. Like I don't even have one on my bench besides Hawkinson, so I'll
Yeah.
probably be a plug and play if he doesn't get hurt every week. So or once he hits his bye. But
That was my tactic. I landed on Hunter Henry right now. I'm going to keep rolling with Hunter Henry. I mean, I think he's involved in that offense. And for a tight end, you talked about targets. That's what for a tight end. If they can get 6 to 7 targets, I am super happy. And
yeah,
that's like, and especially value targets again. So that's what you're looking for. But I have Ertz down. I have Kate Otten. I think it can be used. Kate Otten, Luke Musgrave. But with as a Packers fan, you're not going for Musgrave because you have Christian Watson coming back. So there goes
yeah,
fewer targets for somebody. Aaron Jones comes back. That's even more mouths to feed in that offense. So he might not be as great of a pick at that point.
yeah. Outside of those top 3 or 4 tight ends, it's always been just kind of a crapshoot the last 3 or 4 years. Seems like.
Yeah. Like I said,
So
pick your poison, and
yeah,
the other person across from you probably picked the wrong person as well, and you'll be fine.
yeah,
That's usually
exactly.
usually it doesn't ruin tight end doesn't ruin you in a week. Um, but now we're gonna move on to
Yeah,
comment of
exactly.
the week. We kind of touched on this beforehand because I wanted to see what yours was, and we have different comments of the week, but I like them both. So why don't you throw me yours?
Well, first off, I just want to say that I do have the group chat muted. Me and Glenn have different. He enjoys it. I do enjoy it. I also have my other family's one muted as well, so don't feel too bad.
All
I
right, both are muted.
I'm on my phone enough where I'll get to it, or I'll look at it, so I don't need the dings to keep coming
Yep.
like a high school girls conversation. That was pretty good. I like that. But my comment of the week, I'm a little biased, but my cheesehead gift with the next to Andy. So that was, and so I picked a good week to score the most and to
Yeah.
win and to beat Andy, which so I'll take
Yeah.
that any day of the week.
I'll give this out, but he did say he did not want you in his division because you try to win everything, which is the kind of part of the point of playing this as well is to win it. So I
Yep.
hope Andy's trying to win everything as well. But that means he's scared of you, just so you're aware. I'm just
He
saying, Andy.
he
Just
he
saying.
likes he likes to get mad at me because I'm good at all the things that don't matter. I like or things that are it's like golf, ping pong, pool, uh, just kind of all around athlete that are not like the main
Don't
sports.
matter sports is what he
So
said. I'm great at don't matter sports.
some intense ping pong matches, me and Andy, but I seem to get the better of him, and
Hey,
it
well,
doesn't he doesn't take too well of it. So
Sam and Allison would both be in for some ping pong. I'm sure Zach's always competitive, so he'll always be in. Glenn probably the same way. Not
yeah,
me so much in ping pong. I can hit it back and forth, but I'm not that good, so I'm not gonna claim anything there. Not gonna do that. But yeah, I thought that was definitely a good one because so Sam that he's gonna send it back out like on you, man. You got to beat EJ. He's wondering who's next. Um, but one I liked was Andy actually because of your ass whooping when he sent his gif out with like the actual chasing of the cheese that they do.
yeah,
That's what's actually happening there, and I just
yeah.
loved it. I mean, it's just crazy stuff that people do. Like I love
I,
that one. So that one had
I
me
I
cracking
forgot
up.
about that one. That one was pretty good. Those people are crazy that actually do that chasing of the cheese down the hill. They're
Yeah,
freaking nuts. That's
yeah, they
really
are.
nuts.
No thanks. Not. I'm good. I don't
Yeah,
need that.
yeah,
But we have to move on. In this game, it's only 2 weeks. So even if you're 0-2 and you're feeling down, Don't worry,
Yep.
the roles just flip at that point because what? Glenn had high point last week and he had low point this week.
Yep.
So right there can tell you it can change in no time. So no matter where you're at, you could be in the opposite end here in just 2 weeks' time. But we do have some nice matchups coming up here next week. I'm just gonna start it off, EJ. My wife and I are going against each other next week, and this is an important matchup.
I had that written down. That was my matchup of the week. It was you. I want to know: is there any tension in the household? Is there any side bets? Or
Oh, not quite yet because it hasn't hit really like today is like the conversion over to the next week. So
yeah,
you go through Monday night usually. I think that game was over already, so she didn't really care about Monday night. But you kind of digest, and then you go into Tuesday, and we're in that digestion period from week two. So it'll start here, probably later tonight. Plant the seed, and then you go from there.
and, and
So
she's
I'm
she's clawing for a win too. She needs one. She needs one.
Yeah, I'm 2-0 and she's 0-2, so this will be an interesting battle. I know there will be a side bet. There's got to be a side bet. I think you just have to. So
Some, some would say a good husband would kind of lay down for their wife. They're 0-2, but that's not that's not me.
no, that's not me. Nah, I
I,
think, and I would say, she wants to win it, you know, legitimately. So she would tell
yeah,
me, "Don't do that. I'm gonna beat." She would tell me that she's gonna beat my ass either way. So don't
exactly,
do whatever you want.
exactly.
So that's one I noted. Uh, the other one I noted was actually Mahomes Slice versus Licho. I like that matchup. So I like Zach versus Louis. I think they both have some strong teams. Obviously, Zach's hurting now with Chubb. So what's he going to do there? If Jerome Ford can get 75% of it, maybe he's still viable if he's making the right moves in other spots and other guys go off. But
Yeah.
any matchups that you see next week that you like?
I like I said, I had yours, you and the wife going at it, and then the other one I got is me versus Suckadicka because he's in
Yep.
first place in my division. So, but he's I just want to throw this out there for Suckadicka. He's third lowest amount of points scored in the league, and he's first in points against. So, I think he's due for a loss coming up. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so as well. Like I said, having the lowest point scored for a 2-0 team
Yeah,
is definitely tough. I was even thinking of Tyler. Like Tyler's, I think the lowest, or maybe Allison's the lowest in points for, and it just feels like certain people just aren't going off yet. Like AJ Brown. I
yeah.
know that's a big one for Allison. Where if he can go off, maybe something changes with her team, and you kind of felt some of that this week. You had a nice comeback from the prior. So
Well,
kudos.
that's kind of what I'm worried about now that I'm saying it out loud. He's probably going to finally have that good week versus me this week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So you
lowest
do,
will jump up, so he'll be the
yeah,
high.
yeah. And he's the champion from last week or
Oh,
from last year. Sorry. So
you know that.
you got whenever the champion comes to town. I mean, it's a big deal. So you got to make sure you win those matchups.
Yep, yep. Especially in division, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Well, EJ, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I
Yeah,
appreciate you rolling with some of the punches that have come in the midst of all of this. It has been very odd. It just feels odd today, and I'm sorry for that. But you've been great, man. You've been very knowledgeable, very well prepared. I appreciate that, and I'd
yep,
love to have you on again. And I'm sure you'll have the opportunity this year if you'd like to come back on.
yeah, for sure. Anytime. Yeah, I'm glad I joined. It's going to be fun to kind of learn more about all you guys because I obviously met a few of you guys, but I've never met you guys. Know more about you, so I'm learning a lot in the group chat. So it's been fun.
Cool. Yeah, after you
Yep.
catch up after 5 hours of being away, and there's 90 messages at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's intense. Comes in
Yep.
waves, man. It just comes in waves.
Yep. For
But
sure.
yeah, thank you again, EJ, for being on. I appreciate it. Everyone, thank you all for watching. We look forward to what week 3 brings. Good luck to everyone, and may the best fantasy football manager win.